Hi, everybody. I'm Sherry Hudson Passy from the SLIG Committee. And with me today, I've got Taralyn Trost Parker, who is going to talk to us about her experience taking the fall virtual class Intermediate Foundations. She has agreed to come on and tell you all about it and encourage you to take the class when it opens up for fall. So, Taralyn, go ahead and just introduce yourself real quick so everybody knows who you are.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. The Intermediate Foundations class was my very first professional class that I have ever taken. I like to call myself, I'm a bit of a DIY family historian. I don't even know if I can call myself a genealogist. I want to call myself a genealogist.
Are.
I took classes in college. I've followed those shaky ancestry leaf hints and the family search hints as far as they can go. I've taken roots tech classes. I love family history. I love genealogy, but I've always wanted to do something more. And so that's where the classes with SLIG came in. And yeah, that's a bit about me.
Why did you choose to take this particular course, Intermediate Foundations, which is usually held every fall? And Annette Burke Lyttle currently is the teacher of that, and she's wonderful. Why did you choose to take that course?
Okay, well, there were a couple of things that I was really excited about as I was reading through the course descriptions. It just seemed like the perfect bridge for me into learning more and for breaking through my brick walls. Some of the things that I just loved about the class, you mentioned that Annette taught it, but she brings in this like all-star lineup of professionals. We had Judy Russell, Angela Packer, McGee. I'm looking at my list. Michael Strauss, so many people. And so it's really like almost like 8 classes in one. And so it was fantastic to learn from each one of these people. They're all very passionate about what they do. Like, for example, Kimberly Powell, I had never taken a class from her before. I haven't ever seen someone so knowledgeable or excited about land records. Like,
Yes.
I haven't gotten excited about land records. But after listening to her, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to check out these land records. It's like a gold mine of information. And so I was just really excited about learning from each of these individuals. So that's one. And then the second part is I loved that the class was hands-on. Like our homework assignments, one had to do with whatever we were learning about, whether it was immigration records, census records, transcriptions. But then the second half was we got to apply what we were learning to one of our own brick walls. Now I have a lot of brick walls.
Don't we all?
Right? And I loved being able to look for my ancestor in immigration records and ask questions of professionals. Sometimes when you're doing classes online, it's one directional. You only, get to watch. But with this course, like we met each week and there was question and answer time and we could chat and it was great. Those are just two of the things that made me want to take the class, how it was hands-on and the instructors. And I loved it. They were great.
And I agree with you. It's a bridge into the other SLIG courses because sometimes we'll look at the catalog and we're like, am I ready? So this is the perfect way to get your feet wet into a SLIG course and then go from there. So how do you think taking this class is going to further your genealogy pursuits? What do you see coming down the road for you because you were able to take this class?
I loved it because I felt like it was the perfect foundation. I have, when I think of how I have been doing genealogy, it's like, those squirrels, like they see something shiny and they chase after it. And, I've heard a lot like following them down the rabbit holes, like that has been my style. And yeah, you know how it goes. So I love that it taught me to slow down and to just go back and do things like citations and research logs. Like these were things that I knew about, but I was not using to the best of my ability. And I'm happy to say, because of the class, I totally did break through that brick wall that I had. Like, I
Wonderful.
found my second great grandmother's brother in New York in the early 1900s.
Wow.
I found him.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was. It's so
Congratulations.
cool. And so I know, like, that process, it works. And so I'm really grateful um to have that. And I'm just I'm excited to do my own family history research. And I do a lot of teaching, but most of my teaching about family history is the discovery
Yeah.
experiences and getting started. And I feel like I have a better handle on ways to be a better teacher and to be a more responsible genealogist and to be a better ancestor. Like,
Love that.
right? Like, I can take all the research I've done and leave it in a much better place for my kids and my grandkids instead of them having to follow this zany thought process. Instead, I will have much more organized research and more stories. I discovered so many stories from these records that we looked at in the class. So I think it'll make me a better genealogist, a better teacher, and then just I don't know, just a better person overall. The people you work with are just fantastic in the class. They're so great.
So for those people who are looking for classes to take, and maybe they've not taken an institute class and they're kind of looking at this thinking, oh, maybe that's what I need to bridge that gap between no institute classes to jumping into an institute class, would you encourage people to take this one?
Oh, I would 100%. One of my favorite things about I think I've said that 3 times. My favorite things. I have so many favorite things about these classes. Um, one of my worries was, will I have enough time? I'm a
Yes.
busy mom. Can I do this? But something incredible about the classes is, well, I'm going to use an analogy. It's really like an exercise or a yoga class. Like, there are modifications for whatever level you are at. And so, there were some people in my class, they're like, oh yeah, I easily spent 40 hours, but that's because they wanted to spend
Yes, and
40
they
hours.
had 40 hours.
They had 40 hours. And I loved them for it because it was really cool to see where they went with that 40 hours. But for me, sometimes I only had 5 to 10 hours, and that's fine because that's all that's recommended. Um, and, you know, and I was able to email the teachers anytime I had a question. And so that first class really helped me see how doable this taking classes through SLIG can be. It's not daunting or scary. It's doable, and you can do it. It's of course paced because it's
Sure.
usually there's a certain amount of time to take the class, but there are so many tools built in to help you succeed. And so you don't have to be scared at all. You can just dive in and do it and have fun with it, which I did. I had so much fun.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking to me today about the Intermediate Foundation course, which you can find on the fall offerings for SLIG. And I encourage you to sign up. If you've been thinking about doing it or wondering which class you should take, you want to jump into an institute and see what it's like. Thank you, Taralyn, for helping us to understand what this course was like for you. And so I hope that this has helped you make up your mind as to what course you might want to take at SLIG. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time as we talk about our courses at SLIG. Bye, everybody.